Got Talent possibly have that many viewers? That show is fake. Manufactured garbage. Beyonce. I don't hate her. She's got some catchy tunes. But I don't understand the godlike tier that she's been placed on by seemingly the entire world. Remember to sort by controversial to see real opinions. The Walking Dead. It's a snoozer to me. People Magazine and Celebrity Lives. I couldn't care less what random people are doing. They were great in a movie, awesome. I can appreciate that they are good at their job. Still doesn't make me care what Jerry likes on his toast or what Susan was wearing to the party. Going to bars/clubs every single weekend. I understand once in a while it can be fun. But I know people who go to bars 2x a weekend, and during the week too. They get crap-faced every time and just post on Snapchat about it. I don't really understand that, both entertainment and money-wise. I'm so sick of hearing about Fortnite. I hate the sound that yodeling kid makes. Dancing with the Stars. I call it Dancing with the B-list and my mom and sister get so mad. Any show with a laugh track, including popular favorites like Friends and Big Bang Theory. If something is actually funny, I won't need a cue from a fake studio audience. Raymond. I don't enjoy Battle Royale games, Fortnite, PUBG, H1Z1, or any of them.
PUBG.
I hate the game style,
PUBG.
and I'm hating that every single game is making their own version of it. Loud music at restaurants and bars. I can't hear anything, or talk to anyone. Any reality show, game shows, singing shows, shows like The Bachelor and Jersey Shore, etc.
PUBG.
I just find them super boring and repetitive. I'd much rather watch a show with a real plotline. I really don't watch any reality shows. There are no exceptions.
You said facts?
I have watched some in the past, but I got bored after 1-2 seasons. I have seen episodes of a lot of shows, because my friends and family like them, and will sometimes have them on. Most superhero TV shows. Having kids.
Assurance is
Everyone keeps
basically
telling me that I'll want a
useless.
kid when I get married.
I
have no
think I
motherly
should use Byte.
instincts and do not want my own kids. They are just not for me.
Talking about this move.
Temperatures above 72 degrees Fahrenheit. Twitter. Superhero movies like Deadpool and the Avengers.
You said what?
PC/Knasteres gaming, and specifically PUBG and Fortnite. Snapchat. Because I value my privacy. Don't care about the mundane crap that people do in their day-to-day lives, and don't care what other people think about mine. Fake nails. I mean, yeah, they are pretty, but they are so annoying when you're trying to type on your phone, opening a can, or really anything for that matter.
Great.
Why are long fake nails this
I have
amazing
like bad
beauty
RNG
standard?
when it comes to games.
Dogs.
Especially you got a critical hit.
Obama. Democrats. But I don't keep it a secret either, so. Cardi B's music, TBH. Relaxing, by which I mean going to a beach, or fishing, or whatever other relaxation activity that involves sitting around and doing nothing. I'm bored out of my skull in about 30 seconds. Give me a book, or a game, or whatever and I'll relax. Tell me to sit on a beach and I'll think the waves are pretty for a minute or two, and after that I'll want something to do. Veterans,
To be honest.
I feel they are fairly compensated for the work they provided. There's no need to endlessly thank them for their service. They have too many holidays, and the closer to the old war generation dying off, the better. Taxes. Apparently, every time I post taxation is theft, the downvotes rain upon it. I hate sand. It's coarse, rough, irritating, and it gets everywhere. Despacito. Dogs. I don't want to let your dog out when you're gone. I don't want to play with your dog when I'm visiting you. Get that stinky motherfricker away from me.
I don't think I should be using my recovery
Superhero
potions yet.
movies. Honestly,
I mean,
couldn't give a crap
my
about the new Avengers
Moo Moo
movie.
Milk.
Nice weather. I prefer an
Are you
overcast
laughing?
day. Grey skies.
you
Everything is
laughing?
covered in dew and a nice chill temperature.
Well, were you
That's
laughing
a nice
though?
day for me. Not clear skies and a blinding sun with warm temps. So gross. I'm not a fan of brand name clothes. I like good quality clothing, but whoever's name is on it means nothing to me. I'll buy some cheap loafers, but my wife has to have a Prada and Chanel bag. I don't get it. The Office. Too much talking. Ellen DeGeneres. Life. Dogs,
Life.
I just hate how needy they are. I also feel that their love is not genuine, considering that I have read they will attempt to give it to anything that cares for them, even machines. Just my opinion though. I understand that many people truly care for their dogs. The show Friends, I just can't find it funny like everyone else does. Carrie Fisher, overrated. Lame actress. I despise her. Pretty much all music,
Who the hell's Carrie
except
Fisher?
classical and old jazz. I used to love most sub/genres of rock and roll, punk and metal, classic rock and oldies, etc. I even liked early rap and gangster rap. Eventually, it all started sounding the same. I got tired of it. Classical and jazz are interesting, and less predictable to my untrained ear than pop music. Rock is dead. Rap is stagnating, and quickly heading in the same direction. Most EDM is obnoxious noise. Harry Potter everything. The books are awful. The films are unwatchable.
They
JKR
are.
flat out stole the story from Ursula Le Guin. Dumbed it down. Removed any intelligence of text. $$, $$ profit. JKR stole the Harry Potter concept from the Wizard of Earthsea cycle. A fantasy series started in the 1968.
Fantasy, it grows the
Ripped
tree
straight
and
from
life.
Wiki. The story is set in the fictional
Okay.
archipelago of Earthsea and centers around a young mate named Jed.
Finally, all my
Born in a
Pokemon on the
village
same
on
level.
island of Gaunt. He displays great power while still a
28.
boy and joins the School of Wizardry, where his prickly nature
Yeah,
drives
'cause you're
him
level
into
44, he's
conflict with
28
one of
level,
his
okay.
fellows. During a magical duel, Jed's
not
spell
level
goes
44.
awry and releases a
Exactly.
shadow creature that attacks him. The novel follows his journey as he seeks to be free of the creature. Quote from Megan, she could have at least said thanks. One is literature written by an
Maybe I
anthropologist
should
with
go catch
themes,
Landry.
subtext and ideas. What is in a name? How do we come to terms with dying? The Earthsea cycle is also beautifully written prose. Harry Potter is like
Yes.
the McDonald's of books and hard to read.
Okay.
Ugly. Pulling the same cheap trick over and over. Quirky detailed explanations of nonsense characters or monsters. Childish and weak character names. The films feel like the awful child acting. Terrible plot. The mass market approach. Or the fact that they made the same film 5 or 6 times over. Frosting. I used to tell people I was allergic until someone called me out on it. It's just sugar. It's gonna be a pass from me. I'm
I love
good on
frosting.
that. Not a fan of frosting. Just don't like it.
Okay.
I feel like people who don't like frosting is
I
weird.
guess. I mean, get married. Sure. But a big
He said,
traditional
"Look who's
wedding
talking."
is just such a waste of money. Casinos. I see the fun in them, but honestly the casinos want you to lose. I get nothing out of putting 10 in a machine and nothing coming out. But
That's the
I
whole
hate
point.
the city. I don't give a crap about bars or shows or parties. It's just traffic and annoying crowds. I don't understand why everyone is tripping over each other to pay $2,000 a month to live in a closet. Vegan food. Who wants a meal without meat? Get out to here. Africa Toto.
You're vegan?
That song is such freaking garbage
I don't
for
have a
so many
problem with it.
reasons. But everyone is always riding its peen, like it's the greatest thing ever made. That and anything
Never melt
slash
ice.
everything
I'm
by
about to get
Journey. They're crap. Celebrity culture. They are just normal people with extra makeup, and with enough spare time to go to the gym regularly. Seriously, what makes them any better than the people I see walking down the street? At my age, there's nothing I secretly hate anymore. Now get
Did
the
you know you
frick
can
off
get
my
2
lawn.
XP shares?
99% of pop music. It's
You
like
can get
there's
2.
no art in it. Most of it is just a generic 5s beat repeated over and over again, with someone singing a monologue slash 5 words repeated. Yet, it seems to make millions of dollars every week. The liberals of Reddit. The Office. Painfully unfunny. Dogs. Sorry. Sceneful.
The Office is painfully
Yahoo
unfunny.
vloggers. They are just trying to flex their cash and how their life is better than ours. Stupid. New Year's Eve. Weddings. 21 STS. Any event where there's an
21
expectation
STDs.
that everyone is going to have a great time. Like, you will be in the mood to party, and you will have fun. Frick you. I'm tired and just wanna watch TV and stay in. I'm not good with plans. Soft shell tacos. Large
I love
crowds.
Shocktails.
I've never,
I mean, shock-
ever liked
ah,
large
shock
crowds.
shells.
Not
That's
in
a
classrooms,
Shocktails. Oh my god.
concerts, parties, anything. I just want a few people. Like 3, 7 maximum. More people makes me uneasy.
Moo Moo Milk is broken.
Pokemon Go was pretty whack when it came out. Still have some adult friends that play that crap. It was particularly bad in the beginning, when people were all "it's a good excuse to go outside." Do they not realize that there is an entire real world full of real animals that are infinitely more fascinating than those stupid freaking cartoons? Also not a big fan of video games. Kinda strike me as a waste of time. Video games. I've tried playing them at friends' houses, but just find them boring. Snow. If there are any positives to global warming, it's no more freaking snow. Who rather
want
than
snow.
what? Robin Williams. I don't know if it's just because he died, but whereas people on Reddit seems to absolutely freaking love Robin Williams, I never cared for him. He seemed like a very annoying
Wait a
person on chat shows.
Okay,
I
we get
didn't
it.
find him funny, just tiresome. Pizza. It's mainly the sauce, and I
He
could
says the
possibly
only
order
thing that
without
Perry
it,
stops is a
but
sentence.
just not a fan. I really despise how the mass media collectively decides what is and isn't okay for people, schools, governments, etc. to be doing / saying. As a journalism major who has studied some communication, these widespread internet campaigns for what the collective mass deems acceptable is scarily turning into a groupthink epidemic. A good recent example is the Can I / Trump controversy. Look what happens when someone doesn't adhere to the group ideology. All Can I said was that Trump is a human too, and that he has love for all humans.
Barely.
But the collective
I mean,
has labeled Trump a fascist, racist, misogynistic, and idiotic dictator.
That sounds like
So
politics.
Can I is clearly mentally ill / being whitewashed. Truly scary how quick the collective can turn on someone for saying something as simple as having love for everyone despite their
If he's going
flaws.
like this.
Ariana Grande. I get that her voice is objectively very good, high range and all, but I just find it annoying. She seems like a nice person though. Post Malone. I shouldn't say that I hate him. Just really don't like his music is all. I'm sure others feel the same way about music I enjoy. Sex. It's not that I hate it. It's just boring. My daughter's boyfriend. Apparently eating ass.
my daughter's boyfriend.
I'm gonna get downrated to hell for this, but I honestly can't stand Drake's music. It's so painful to listen to. He just sounds like a whiny crybaby to me. I understand that some of his songs have a
I'm
deeper
just
meaning to
saying you
it,
can
but
do
his voice just
better.
makes my ears bleed. Breaking Bad.
That's so
2000
trash.
plus model American muscle cars. They're too bulky looking and everyone has one. So common. 99% of all movies / shows / Netflix. Garbage. Pop culture. Pretty much any mainstream music artist. Call me a hipster, or whatever. But they are no talent as clones. That signed their life away for a crap load of money and to be owned by their label. Forced to make crap music with meaningless lyrics. The movie Frozen. Hey, our little girl has a condition. Let's lock her in a room. And that song is not even good. Truth. Fortnite. Trash game. Disney movies. All of them. Including Marvel and Star Wars. And Friends. The TV show. Not the people. Yes. I'm always the outcast. Maybe I should clarify. Because the all of them part makes it look like I'm crapping on Disney just to be a rebel. I have seen many of their movies. Not all. But lots of them. And I just don't like them. The hate part is related with the blockbuster machine that Disney has become in the last years. They just don't seem to put any effort anymore. Okay, this year we are going to make 5 superhero movies, 1 Star Wars movie and maybe 1 or 2 movies for children. We'll figure out the script and the crew members later. Let's talk about the merchandising first. Anime. Keep that weep crap away from me. Memes. Honestly,
Memes.
Snapchat. I hate how the messages disappear. I hate how superficially
You niggas
obsessed
save them,
people
right?
get about snap streaks. Social media strikes me as some I'm having more fun than do competition these days. I used to use it more in high school, but I found that it just feeds into unnecessary comparison to other people. Of course every now and then I'll go on Twitter, but at that point I'm just looking at memes anyways or mayo. Forrest Gump. I feel as though the movie tries to be too hard to be too many types of movies. It tries to be an era movie, a family movie, a comedy, a dramatic story, and a war story all in one, which for my personal taste is too ambitious. The scenes are in consistently different genres, and I find myself being dead split between enjoying parts of the movie and then not enjoying other parts. I don't consider it really to be a bad movie, but I dislike it. Black Panther. Movie was boring liberal pandering. Music with lyrics. I openly hate most things. Hockey. I watch my family jump and cheer for joy. Their eyes lit with amazement as people chase a puck with sticks. I have been in self-exile since the playoffs have started. I do not like tea. It's nasty and gross, no matter how you make or serve it. Mix all the honey or sugar you want, but it's still just leaf water. Nasty leaf water. Alcohol. Always get a hangover. I drink water and still I get them. If I do drink, it's on a day I don't have work the next day. Radiohead. Mumbling garbage. Rap.
My god,
the new Honda Civic
Sandow's
design.
evolving.
I like my old generation. Much smaller, and they tried to hard on the new one. Pop and EDM music. I hate the Minions. I freaking hate them. They are creepy looking, and they have those god-awful voices. And they are everywhere. When I moved into my house last year, there was a freaking Minion mug. I use it to shovel pussy litter out the litter box now. Banana. Frick off. Superhero movies. I'm not 10 years old and there are too many of them. New vehicles. I want no power accessories, and no touchscreen nonsense in my vehicles. I don't want Bluetooth, I don't want tires that resemble rubber bands, I don't want wheels so big they cost a fortune to replace. I could rant 4 pages about how new cars and trucks freaking suck. French fries. I just think
I
they
love
are
French
way
fries.
overrated. I love all other types of potatoes, but French fries are just a vessel to eat salt. Doctor Who and Game of Thrones. Mostly because I generally hate TV in general and only watch it when I drink. Patriotism. Blind loyalty to leaders, no matter what horrible things they've done, is the epitome of mob mentality. Thinking your country is the best, when you know virtually nothing about most other countries, is mindless stupidity. Treating foreigners like dirt, because deep down they scare your weak-minded sense of superiority, is just another kind of racism. People are stupid af. Nutella. I wouldn't say hate, but Ellen annoys the hell out of me. I have a hard time grasping how so many people love her, let alone tolerate her. 80s music. Hot garbage. Whoa. I got way more attention than I expected, so let me clarify. When I say 80s music, I'm talking the same top 100 songs everyone knows and has been overplayed to death. I wouldn't lump political punk, rap, or hip-hop in my hot garbage statement. Avengers/Marvel movies, except Deadpool. Just superhero movies. Come on, man. It's so goddamn redundant at this point. Stop blocking theaters with these kids' movies. Cats. I'm allergic, and their pee stinks worse than other pee. Mumble rap.
That's true.
Ed Sheeran. Except my hatred of him is entirely public. Red Hot Chili Peppers. The band. They're awful. Drake and The Weeknd, and any style of music that sounds similar. It's just plain awful. Fallout 4. PLS don't downvote. Tomatoes. They're on every single freaking thing on every menu ever, unless you specifically request to not have a disgusting slice of undercooked seeping fetus fruit on your sandwich. I do not see the appeal in Jennifer Lawrence. Her face is punchable. She's smug as hell. She's only pretty because she pounds on the MacUp and capitalizes on being socially awkward. She almost seems like a clearance discount Easy A era Emma Stone. Her acting isn't bad, but it doesn't stand out, and I'm very certain she keeps tripping at those awards shows for attention. She reminds me of a very specific type of girl from high school, i.e. sneezing obnoxiously, acting clumsy, etc. just to seem cute. Social media in general. When I was younger, maybe 12 over 13, I was on it constantly, but now that I've deleted the majority of my accounts and am older, I really don't see the thrill. I think it's actually really annoying how obsessed people are with posting statues and pictures online. I can barely have a regular hangout with my friends without them recording everything and putting it on Snapchat. Kinda sucks when you just wanna connect in person. 13 Reasons Why. Most of my classmates are so hyped and inspired by the show, but I don't like it at all. It's just a show about a spoiled teen who takes things too far. Pets. Pretty much all of them. Why can't people just leave animals wild? I get working animals. Those are helpful. Pets though, they are expensive and make it hard to go on vacation. Rihanna. Although I don't secretly hate her, everyone who knows me knows I despise her. How I Met Your Mother. God damn it. I still try to see what's fun or engaging about the characters. The slowness of baseball drives me freaking insane. Birthdays. I never got on board with the significance when I was younger. So now every week it seems like I'm obligated to be somewhere. I don't trouble you with my birthday. How come no one else wants to extend the same courtesy? Of course, if you complain about this sort of thing, whoever of your friends had a birthday last will take it personally. I guess if I were open about how I feel, I would be invited to fewer birthdays. But I just want to not have to be obligated to go out so often. Not be excluded from things because my friends have decided I'm an asshole. Wine and olives whilst I'm here. FK Olives. Star Wars. I get it. 2 of the movies were pretty good. The rest, not so much. So please don't send me another stupid video of Darth Vader doing a silly dance, or Darth Vader in a Hello Kitty outfit, or Darth Vader comically choking someone.
I hate the Star Wars franchise as a whole.
Swings a lightsaber around. Guacamole. Fortnite. Star Wars films. I've tried watching some, but they are so boring. Black Panther. I don't hate it, but it was one of the weakest MCU entries. The acting was cheesy, the plot was boring, and dry and predictable, and I was straight bored for the majority of the movie. Yet it's the highest rated movie in the MCU by critics. What a joke critics are. The Avengers or the MCU. And I'm not very secret about my hate for it. It just seems like a children's franchise marketed and branded to adults. Like Minions or something. NFL. I want to like it. But nah, not for me. Too many stops in play. Not enough actual play. Harry Potter. Till this day I'll never understand the fan base or J.K. Rowling. Snapchat. I just don't get it, and probably never will. Adele. Obviously she is an extremely talented artist, and is well deserving of praise, but to me, her voice is the equivalent to listening to a guitarist shred as hard, as fast and as loud as possible throughout an entire song. She's constantly belting, constantly wailing, like a knob that stays at 10 at all times. Making people famous for being idiotic or no reason at all. Kardashians. Danielle,
I should have used
whatever,
Mudshot, then Scold. That was gonna outspeed it. Fuck.
What's one thing you're deeply proud of, but would never put on your resume? I was in a coding prank war with a coworker. I wrote a Windows service that would detect when he closed Visual Studio and changed his config to use Comic Sans. I had named the service after our antivirus vendor and installed it on everyone else's machine, but only messed with him so he wouldn't get suspicious. Drove him nuts for weeks before he admitted defeat.
Oh, come the fuck on.
When I was in the Air Force, we had a Logistics Compliance Assessment Program inspection, LCAP for short. I had been in my shop about 2 weeks, and had no idea what I was doing. It's a pretty tense time, as any failures or infractions can get the hammer dropped on you. My SSGT was showing the inspector, a SMSGT,
Are you serious?
second highest enlisted rank, our files so he could see if we were storing them appropriately. My MSGT was furiously taking notes. I was looking over their shoulder trying to learn what the hell was going on, and a fart snuck up on me. Being against the wall amplified the sound. It was a good one too. About a 3-second trumpet blast. My SSGT facepalmed and scrambled to open the window. My MSGT was a very intense woman. I learned that day that she was strong in the force as she choked me with her eyes. After a few seconds the inspector just started laughing his ass off, and everyone else followed suit. He grabbed his notepad, thought for a second, and said, "I don't know how to write that up as an infraction. You know what? Here you go," and handed me an LCAP coin. For those of you unaware, being coined is a recognition for an accomplishment. I was one of 2 people in a squadron of 350 to be coined during that 3-day inspection. A few hours later my squadron commander, a major, walked in. We all went to attention. and he put us at ease, and said, "Where is he?" All eyes went to me as I tried not to crap myself. He walked up, shook my hand and said, "Son, in all my time, that is the funniest freaking story I've heard at an inspection." So my resume says officially recognized during Logistic Compliance Assessment Program for having a positive impact on morale. I'm really good at admitting when I'm wrong. Unfortunately, in my line of work, that is construed as flip-flopping. I was ranked 8th in the world on Mario Strikers charged for the Nintendo Wii for 2 months. I make $200–500 per month from drawing Udanon girls in fetish situations. Someone applied for a police officer position with a top item on the accomplishments section listed as 4-time Pokemon TCG state champion. I completed an online master's degree from a really good school all on work time without anyone noticing. I once caught a gummy bear in my mouth, thrown off a 4-story parking garage at night. So I guess that's the one. I run a Tumblr account with a 100k plus followers, but I can't tell anyone, because the obvious follow-up would be, "Oh, what's the account?" And that's my business. I'm proud of myself for quitting drinking, but have a hard time fitting that into any conversation, so I generally don't. I'm very wealthy in RuneScape. Built my fortune mining coal and iron, then smelting steel bars. Eventually moved on into buying and selling before grand exchange days. When I was 17, I tried out for an Olympic team and nearly made the cut. They wanted 6 team members, and I was 8th. I'm embarrassed about what it was for though, so I don't tell anyone. I ate 6 bowls of pasta at the Pasta Deathmatch Challenge at the Olive Garden never-ending pasta bowl. I've never dropped a set of keys that were thrown at me. I have one of the best collections of 1960s era guitar pedals in the world. It's taken years of spending all my free time at a computer monitoring local classifieds ads around the world. But, fortunately, very, very few people care about that sort of thing. I can beat through the fire and flames on Expert in Guitar Hero 3rd. I once made someone laugh so hard they threw up. They carried on laughing while vomiting. It was amazing. My years as a stand-up comic. I've been doing it for over 6 years and it's my favorite thing in the world to do, but I can't put any of it on a resume. One time, while using a public urinal, I farted loudly. The automatic paper towel dispenser behind me dispensed a sheet of paper towel. My friends don't believe me. Ate a whole head of iceberg lettuce in under 11 minutes. Most of my friends didn't even finish, but I'm the lettuce king. Quitting heroin. My whole fist can fit in my mouth. Show it off at every family event. Hey grandma, wanna see a cooler gakak? I used to be a really good tennis player. I would play on international circuits and everything. But now the only thing that applies to my resume is that I was a captain for 1 year on my college team. I've never applied for a job I didn't get.
Are you
I'm
serious? I
absurdly
didn't
proud
kill.
of this despite the obvious underachiever
Oh, thank God.
implications. I'm extremely good at chugging. I can easily finish a pint in less than 3 seconds. I've never lost a chugging contest. To add to that, it's in the top 5 sexiest things about me according to my wife. My brother and I managed to single-handedly change the price of an all-you-can-eat buffet in the US. When we were young,
What?
the price was $1 for kids under 12. It wasn't when we went back. I've played 2,000 plus hours of Rocket League without dying from the toxicity. I've donated over 10 gallons of blood to the Red Cross. I actually had it on my resume for a while, but some people get really weird about it. I caught them all. I got a call from a friend who also raised goats. She had a 5-month-old who had a bum leg and the older kids were picking on her. I picked her up, but it was the start of a long weekend, and every vet was closed for the next several days. Turns out, she had broken her hind leg, about 3 inches above her ankle. Clean break, no broken skin. I set it, then splinted it with a soda bottle, cut so it would roll on itself, wrapped it in vet wrap, planning to stabilize it through the weekend. Couldn't get an appointment until a week later, where MRI showed that the leg was healing perfectly. I once beat up a dude who was bullying a kid with Down syndrome at a weird traveling fair thing once. He was at least 5 years older than the kid and following him around doing impressions of him and tripping him. A carny-style guy pulled me off him while I held his hair and tried to smack his head off a helter-skelter. I was a angry youth. My kids are polite and well-behaved because that's how my wife and I raise them. I founded a union that now represents more than 1,000 workers at 34 work sites, and I served as its president for 6 years, holding countless numbers of crappy employers accountable. 5 Costco hot dogs eaten in one sitting. Ladies, please form an orderly queue for hot dog Dan. I have written somewhere between 1 and 2 million words of real hardcore fetish erotica. I loved every minute of it, and I made a damn fine living doing it, too. I savored every 5-star review. I loved knowing that people were getting off to stuff I'd written. Even the really weird out there commission stuff. I don't put that in my portfolio. Not sure if this belongs here, but I'm real proud of an accomplishment I had in 10th grade, a little over a decade ago. Now, I was taking a regular geometry class and we were given our midterm. I got through it quickly, but there was a bonus question on the back. I'm not sure how much it was worth, but the question was basically this. Here's an extremely abstract object. Find its area. Oh yeah. Not telling you the length of any of its sides. Have fun. I spent about an hour on this one question. Now mind you, it was multiple choice, so I cold guessed and had a 25% chance. But nah, I wanted to crack it, so I brought out my ruler, drew dotted lines, etc., and got to the answer. When the teacher gave back out tests, he asked those who got the bonus question right to raise their hands. He then asked those who actually worked out the problem to keep their hands raised, and the rest were to lower this. I was the only one who still had their hand raised. Teacher, I gave this question to all of my classes, including my honors students. Out of them all, Mxel is the only one who correctly worked out the problem. Mxel, can you please come to the board and show everyone how to do it? After I copied my work to the board, my teacher followed up with, he's right. Boom. This made my school year, but obviously I'd never put it on a resume. Lol. I'm a 5'4", 110-pound lady and I managed to stab an assailant in the face with my keys. Although it makes me seem crazy, it was my first physical altercation with someone 4x my size and I'm proud that I didn't die or cry. I'm fantastic at making balloon animals. I've got no good reason.
Oh, this is gonna use fucking crunch.
I have
Damn.
over 11.5 years clean and sober. It's a good thing, but I'm not telling potential employers about it. I finished all of Dark Souls 3 without using Estus. I'm great for trivia night. My personal best 100-meter time is 10.89 seconds. I tell people it fairly frequently, but it's a bit difficult to fit that into a CV. I have proudly spent 10,000 plus hours on a medieval fantasy game made for children and I would gladly do it again. Eating Nature Valley bars without making a mess. When I get really stoned, I can orgasm without touching myself. I discovered I could do this by being incredibly lazy, haha. I got pretty stoned one night, right before going to bed. Once I got into bed and settled into my normal sleeping position, I realized I was horny. Not uncommon for me when I'm high, but I'm a side/fetal position sleeper, and didn't feel like turning over to flick my bean, or moving in general quite yet. So, I instead started basically doing Kegel exercises to see if I would get turned on enough to quit being lazy about it. Well, that crap felt really good. I had done them plenty of times before, and they had never felt that intense. I kept doing them for a while, and then eventually hit a wall. So I finally turned over to see if changing positions might help, and it sort of did, but I found myself hitting another wall shortly thereafter. I decided to go all in, and as I'm pulling my underwear down, I was imagining the feeling of my fingers doing their thing, and oh boy did that break me through the wall. So instead of actually touching myself, I continued to just imagine doing it, and after a few minutes I orgasmed. Not the most intense orgasm I've ever had, but it was definitely an orgasm. I've never been able to do it sober or wasted, only when I'm high. The weed helps calm my mind down enough that I can throw all my concentration into it without any distractions. I also haven't done it in a long time, as I quit smoking weed 7 years ago. I just recently started smoking again, albeit only occasionally, but I've been so stressed out about life stuff that I haven't attempted it. So yeah, that's how my lazy ass gets off when I don't feel like moving whilst in a stone stupor. I'm an Eagle Scout, but that doesn't mean much to anyone after you're 22 and older. As a 31-year-old, that would look strange. I'm really good at getting things done at the last minute. I'd not want that on a resume, because it implies that I procrastinate. True, and because it might mean getting really crappy deadlines. I smoked a joint with Ziggy Marley once. I can fart loud and long. It's pretty impressive. Doesn't always smell bad, but I'm basically a reverse opera singer. I wish I could put this on there, but I feel like I'd miss more than I'd hit with it. I've been a GM for a WoW guild that has lasted 7 years now, and we have multiple realm first achievements. Overcame heroin addiction. I just got into bouldering. Last night was the second session of a course I'm doing, and I managed to get to a really difficult hold. My entire body was screaming not to go for it, but I did, and it worked out. Sounds stupid, but it's been a long time since I've been challenged like that, and it was exhilarating. My comment karma. I can't put a finger on the exact reason, but I'm super proud of it. 100k comment karma and counting. Horde first boss kills in WoW. Alcohol was on my server, so server first kills were not possible. I once took a crap on the seat of a forklift truck. I have an overactive imagination that lets me build imaginary worlds. So far I have 12 of them. My sobriety, almost 18 months sober. I, 24 meters, once had a girl, 24F, tell me that she wished she could write a Google review on how good my oral skills are. Honestly, it was a great moment or moments. We high-fived after. I can make a sandwich with my feet. I won a contest at a party once. I have monkey toes. In World of Warcraft I was attempting to kill this elite rare spawn. It was reasonably difficult to do solo, and would take several minutes to get done. While I was about 3/4 the way through killing it, 3 other players showed up, killed me, and stole the rare spawn kill. A little bit later, the rare spawn was up again, and I saw those same 3 people killing it. I ran in, and killed all 3 of them, and stole my rare spawn kill back from them, ending the whole ordeal with just a few % of my health left. It didn't drop anything great, but it was so satisfying. Once in elementary school, lunch was ending, and I found a perfect condition blue eyes white dragon on the ground. Hell yeah. I picked that crap up, and walked towards my class as rain was beginning to fall. That's when I turned the corner, to see a kid panicking and crying, running around feverishly. I asked him what was wrong, and he said he lost his blue eyes white dragon. It took a lot of willpower to give it up. My parents couldn't afford to buy me booster packs or anything, but I did give it back to him then and there. I look back on it fondly now. It helps when I feel like a waste of air. Surviving stage 4 tonsil/lymph node cancer. Finishing university with extreme anxiety. It feels like being in an MMA fight with both hands tied behind my back and my legs hobbled together. I hugged a girl once. That I've written over 1 million words of Harry Potter fan fiction. I don't think being a SoundCloud rapper would land me any job. Expect maybe as a gift rapper. I'm a grown man, an engineer, a homie owner, a husband, and a father. I also build kick-ass Sims houses. I'm the boss, so there aren't any resumes. I'm really proud of the fact that I drive a 12-year-old car, and don't live gaudy like some other business owners in town. Hi Tom. Nice Bentley. I do this to make sure I can pay my few employees well, and save money to expand the business into real estate. I'm putting off big living for 20 years, so I can skip to really big living. It also means I have savings for medical emergencies for people in my family. I have 3 uni degrees, but only put one of them down, or change the title, so it looks like a double degree instead of 2 separate degrees. So I have a Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Arts in Community Development and Bachelor in International Aid. So sometimes I combine community development and internation aid, so it reads as a double degree. I'm proud of all my studies, but if it's not relevant to the role I'm applying for, I don't put it down. Sometimes I don't even put down any of them, because some jobs would consider a university graduate as overqualified for the role. 100% completion of Skyrim. I tongue fricked a guy, and had my tongue a good 2 or 3 inches in him. I have a large tongue and my partners always appreciate it. I also managed to put 4 fingers in. I'm now referred to as 4 fingers or the claw by my friends. That I was in the Marine Corps. I freaking hate people asking me questions.
This is probably
about
overkill.
Saying, thank you for your service. That crap makes me feel awkward as frig. Luckily I'm far enough away from that experience that I don't really need to state what I did when I was that young. Plus the confusion people have on proper nomenclature and all that jazz is semi-infuriating to the former Marine in me. Just easier to avoid the conversation altogether. Incredibly good at lying about my abilities and capabilities. Thus getting jobs I'm in no way qualified to hold, and that's the only ability I'm not lying about. I ate a foot-long chili cheese dog while driving home to my sick wife and didn't spill it on myself or the car once. I did this last night and have been wondering how to tell someone. Thanks for asking this today. Quitting smoking took me a couple years, but I did it. Been 10 years since I had a cigarette. I literally made another man vomit from a single fart. It was glorious. But I'm also probably to blame for our environmental problems. I once made a guy come so hard that he blacked out. He got up to go to the bathroom and just crumpled onto the carpet. I was a child laborer in Mexico, along with my 3 brothers. We worked 72 hours a week, 6 days of the week. Only reason we didn't work Sundays, because the owner was Christian. We were given 1 instant ramen cup a day, which was exceedingly generous of him. We were paid 100 pesos a day. My brothers, father, and I worked hard, so my sister and mother wouldn't have to. We Mexicans value women with high regard, a part of the macho culture that media doesn't show, and I first-hand lived. We couldn't exist without women and we know it. We eventually saved enough to emigrate from MX to the US the right way. I'm proud of it. And now that I'm months away, 16 years later, from finally getting my citizenship, it hurts me to see America in her current state. I value the American dream. Why don't people born here love it too? It's mind-blowing that America has become such a stagnant red and blue, and there seems to be no violet in between. There seems to be no middle ground like the founding fathers world wanted. We are in an America where both liberal and conservative ideals are discussed via insults and explosions to one another, such as liberal retards or Trump idiots. Where is
These
the
scientists
ground?
just be experimenting on these
The third major
deerlings.
political party.
I feel
Why
bad
must
for
there be
them.
so much polarization due to the online bots? Perhaps a middle point would help America more than her residents know. Anyway,
They
I'm
keep giving
proud of
these
that
fucking
labor and
them
working my ass off
steroids.
eight to bring the best to my family. I'd never put that on a resume, but goddammit am I proud of it. P.S. I don't like the
Ooh,
word
leaf stone.
undocumented. I'm illegal, not documented. I paid over $10,000 to the US and DHS for my green card over the years, after being granted a temporary visa, and later a working temporary one. Went back into the working force at 15 to pay for it, as has my family. I know a few
Oh, it's raining.
illegals.
I
Good
get a
and bad.
boost.
They're still here illegally. Some came from violent areas, or had no other choice. They seem more deserving than some entitled illegals I've met here in TX. That size is business to do something of it. But when they call themselves undocumented, and say they have a right to be here, because their parents moved here with a tourist visa a decade ago, no wall is gonna fix that. BTW. We need a different approach to moderate illicit immigration. That does bother me. Anyway, I'm content
What did that
with
do
my
so much?
infant labor days. To get to America the beautiful. Murica. PSS. Plus equals. I got a BJ in a mansion once. Don't think hiring managers would be too impressed though. I once won a Black Lotus at a Magic tournament. I sold it 2 years later for $1,900 when I bought my house. Paid for some of my furniture. Since I entered the picture, my wife's autistic daughter, my stepdaughter, has gone from holding her assistant's hand every second of school to be completely independent with about 90% attendance rate. Very uncommon for children with autism. Not only that, but she doesn't even have an assistant anymore, and isn't even close to failing a single subject. She has also made considerable progress in life in general. My wife has a hard time admitting it, but this is largely thanks to my guidance. I have put a lot more expectations and demands on her than her mother ever dared to, and also beat into her head, figuratively, that she has the capability to meet them.
I just like a stranger resting your house.
And should probably tell her that more often. Actually,
like any
I'm
stranger
gonna
just
tell her now.
walks into your house.
I accidentally found a shiny legendary Pokemon when I was 9. I once ran a half marathon without stretching and refusing all water stops. I finished, but I really shouldn't have. I won in a super amateur eating and drinking contest against 3 college guys. I'm female and I was 29 at the time. And no, I'm not morbidly obese. I want a free drink for my efforts. Carrot I got carrot AR, RESTED carrot BUIING a weed carrot FOR carrot MY mom. Carrot BUT carrot I will never run at carrot HER carrot THAT carrot BECAUSE carrot SHE carrot WOULD never rougher give carrot HERSELF carrot AND carrot SHER doesn't need carrot THAT stress carrot IN carrot HER life. Carrot NO carrot ONER really carrot KNOWS about carrot IT. Carrot A and D are maybe carrot IT apostrophe S are not are really carrot SOMETHING carrot TO carrot BE carrot PROUD carrot OF. Carrot BUT carrot IT carrot MAKES carrot ME I feel like carrot KNOW. Which company will never see your money again? Jiffy Lube. Took my car there for an oil change before a long haul trip across the country. Had an appointment with the dealership immediately afterwards, because a part on warranty needed replacing. I'm not entirely sure what happened in between. But after my oil change from Jiffy Lube, I drove down the street to the dealership, and pulled up to the service garage. A representative immediately comes out, yelling at me, and waving his hands. What were you thinking driving that thing uphill like that? Why didn't you call us to get a tow? Confused, I step out of my car and approach him. He points behind me. Beneath the car, there is a puddle of blue, black, and yellow fluids leaking all over their nicely paved service entrance, with a trail leading down the street, right back to Jiffy Lube. There's an auto shop in my town that I paid roughly $250 to balance 4 wheels and fix one bent rim. This whole process is maybe 1 hour of work. I'd know. I'm a fully trained mechanic. I just don't have access to the required tools to do this work. They didn't balance all 4. I complained and went back. They balanced one more wheel that they made me guess was the issue. That wheel needed balancing. They balanced that wheel and sent me on my way. That wheel wasn't the only one not balanced. I still have at least 1 unbalanced wheel. 2 trips to balance 4 wheels and they couldn't do it. So basically I paid them $200 plus and spent 3 hours waiting across 2 trips for them to not do the 1 hour of work I paid them for. They're incompetent, stupid, lazy, and they ripped me off. Wheels in Annapolis MD is a dishonest shop and deserves to fail. AT&T. At the time, they were the only internet provider near me. Live in a rural area. I then found a new home, and since I was still under contract, I took my internet service with me. Once I'd learned that the local cable company had faster internet for the same price, I decided to jump ship. Trying to get out of a contract with them was like pulling teeth. Pizza Hut. I worked there from 2009 to 2017 as a side gig. Early last year, corporate sold most of the Houston stores to a franchisee. One company, RTL Foods, operate almost all the stores in the area now. After they took over, constant upper management frickups and payroll frickups started. It got to the point where our paychecks started bouncing. So I put them on blast on Pizza Hut's Facebook page. I asked if they could vet their franchisees a little better instead of just handing the keys to any hack frauds that say hi Yves Moniz Wide Leak Restaurant PLZ. They tried to suspend me, so I just quit instead. Now I don't eat there on principle. Their crap ain't that good anyway. Uber ended up having a huge fight with their customer service team, and each response to each of my messages came from a new person. Went on a trip with some friends, and ended up needing a ride from our broken down car to the rental car we were getting. We added my credit card to a friend's account, and tried submitting for a pickup. The app failed to
Or
find us
professor.
a driver, so we cancelled that one out within a minute and I tried on my own phone. My attempt had been successful. The following day, I noticed 2 full charges from Uber. Contacted them and clarified that only one trip had actually been successful. Provided a lengthy explanation on the failed pickup attempt on my friend's account with my card, clarifying that since they did not manage to locate a driver on that attempt, the charge was not valid. The response that they stood by was that, since I admitted to knowing the person who attempted the ride with my card number, made it
I'm
a
about to
valid
get my
charge, they
5th
claimed that the
Pokemon.
charge was valid, and that whether or not the ride had ever taken place was irrelevant to the situation. I was blown away that they were telling me that a charge for something was valid, whether or not the service that the charge was for even happened. To top it off, they decided that the best course of action to resolve my dispute was to block my own card numbers in their system, on any account, including my own. Requested a call from a supervisor to try to discuss the situation multiple times, and they refused to discuss it with me any further. Ended up calling my bank and disputing the charge, getting all charges reversed, and my bank even agreed to block them from any future charges to my account as well. Buffalo Wild Wings. Last August I did the Blazin Challenge, 12 of their hottest wings in 6 minutes, after making sure they had the t-shirt prize in my size. The server assured me they did. Killed the challenge, and then they tell me they don't have a shirt. After getting a few canned responses from social media customer service and another promise from the manager that she has found the shirt at another local store and will be mailing it to me, they straight up stopped replying and refused to take my calls. Now keep in mind, I signed a waiver saying they aren't responsible for injury and blah blah, but it also said that if I win I'm entitled to the shirt and the Wall of Fame. Also they still make you pay for the challenge wings. You fricked me, Buffalo Wild Wings. And you even made me pay for dinner first. My local liquor store after the employee remarked back again, as I entered. Comcast. 4 years I have refused to move to places where they are the only cable internet option. And if they ever replace my current provider, I will either sell my house or live without internet. I had an account with them for about a year from 2009, 2010, and that was enough bullcrap for the rest of my life. I had my own modem, but every month they charged a modem rental fee, and every month I called to resolve the billing discrepancy. Their customer service was atrocious, and every month the same issue would return. When I moved and went to cancel my service, they demanded that I return the modem that was never Fizz in the first place. Then at the end of 2011, I moved with roommates back to a Comcast-only city, and since they wanted internet, I reluctantly agreed to pay part of the bill. Somehow when the problems started, I was the one who had to fight with customer service. Never again. Electronic Arts. Frickin'.
And you shouldn't. That was a critical
My
hit. Damn.
university. They are assholes that charge you as much as is possible for bullcrap reasons. For example, they deactivated my parking permit 3 days before I was supposed to move out, which resulted in 2 tickets and owing them another $70. My appeal was denied, so I pay that or don't get my diploma. Assholes. Best Buy. I worked for them for a while years ago. Hate them or love them. Back then they seemed to care. Employees got decent bonuses. Metrics were not the be all end all. Geek Squad was still new, and you actually had to have some computer knowledge to be one. Then corporate got greedy, decided to compete against Walmart, only cared about metrics, and how many Best Buy credit cards you got. They screwed the customer, but they also seriously screwed their employees. Haven't seen a penny of my money since I quit. Comcare, never mind. My bill is due. Bell Canada. Their service is crap. They're more expensive than third-party companies. They bait and switch their customers. They're anti-net neutrality. They're shady AF. Ticketmaster. Glorified ticket touts. Facebook. Freaking disabled my ads account, which was understandable, but also aren't returning the amount of money which I have added to my ad balance. InBev. They are the Nestle of the drink world. They actively seek legislation that hurts small breweries. They patent hops so other brewers, even home brewers, can't use them. They use corn syrup as a substitute for barley to save money in many drinks such as Bud Light. I could go on and on about how terrible and bevies. But the worst of it is that no one tried to stop their acquisition of Anheuser-Busch, despite them being a foreign-owned multinational. Or the Republicans that claim to be pro-America look the other way for bribe money. Or the Democrats that pretend to love workers' rights look the other way. They let it happen. I didn't even like Anheuser-Busch as a company, but they were our crappy drink company. Now they're but a zombie, controlled by someone else in a faraway land. I signed up to a kickboxing class, which was PS50 for 6 lessons. Their intention was to get people to pay for a membership. After those classes finished, I rang them to sign up as I really enjoyed it. I was told someone would get back to me, they never did. I emailed them, never got a reply. I went in and left my details with the guy who said the manager would give me a call he didn't. I rang again and was told someone would get back to me. You guessed it, they did not. They won't see my money because they clearly don't want it. Blockbuster had an issue with Blue Apron where they mispackaged some potatoes and then blamed me for not knowing to refrigerate them. When I contacted CS, who the hell refrigerates potatoes? Next week went by, and I got more stupidly packed potatoes, and noticed the plastic bag it came in didn't say to refrigerate. All there must be refrigerated packages have a label saying so. Took like 3 weeks to settle an issue with rotting potatoes seeping and leaking all over other food items settled. Frick that. A year of loyal weekly service down the drain, and now HelloFresh has my business. Nestle. I can't even put into words how much I loathe the crap they do. Especially in third world countries. They hold a crazy monopoly in places like Africa, where water is scarce. They have enough water, but it's so expensive few people can get to it. They're also the reason Flint here in the US doesn't have water. Absolutely evil. AAA. I was in an accident a couple of years ago, and instead of paying out, like what you'd expect an insurance company to do, they cancelled my policy. My dad and I share the same name, so they claimed that my dad was insuring my car and used that as an excuse to claim fraud and cancel my policy. CS, they sold me an expensive vacuum cleaner that lasted less than 1 year with normal use. It wouldn't suck the cat hair from the furniture. Moreover, they wouldn't replace or exchange the defective unit I bought. Dr. Martens. There was a time when a pair of docks would last 2 years, but then they moved production to China and the quality just took a nosedive. They would start cracking and tearing after just a few months. Jimmy John's posted this story before, but a few years back they had a credit card data breach that they didn't tell anyone about for 3 months. My account was frozen, and my CC was cancelled without warning by my bank just to be safe that my info wasn't stolen. The breach hit 216 stores in June of 2014, and they didn't put out any press releases to warn the public about it until September of 2014. When I found out my card was cancelled, I was traveling and trying to buy food and grocery items for my hotel room, and was crap out of luck. Caused some major issues for me for about 2 weeks back then. Got it all sorted out, but still, the hassle was ridiculous. I used to never carry cash, but now try to just in case crap like this happens. I tried to contact Jimmy John's corporate and never heard back. They have a duty to the public and their consumers to notify them that they may have their CC info stolen, and they dropped the ball. When other brands had breaches, like Target or Home Depot, the news was shared the same week of the breach. Completely lost all trust with their brand, even though I like their sandwiches. Have never gone back there since. I'm not going to even mention the stories about their CEO, because that's a different debate. But my main reason is data breach that was not properly handled. Spirit Airlines. Anyone who's flown with them will understand why. eBay/PayPal. Thieving scumbags. EA. After the loot box controversy, it was almost believable that they would learn their lesson. But after the announcement yesterday that they are essentially gonna just circumvent legislation and regulation, rather than being pro-consumer, yeah, they can frick off. Wells Fargo, Bank of America, Pizza Hut. A stupid minor one, but the nearest Taco Bell. It's maybe a year or so old and the first 3-6 months was great, quick, accurate, etc. Then something changed, I'm guessing corporate trainers left or something, and everything went to crap almost immediately. Speed sucks. Order accuracy sucks. I've even paid for things, and not received them several times. I gave it a couple of months, and tried one more time, and it was still terrible. I don't know
Oh, come the fuck
if a
on.
good manager left, and a crap manager came in, or what. I don't have high expectations for fast food, but Jesus. Their Yelp reviews are even all terrible now, even by the standard of other fast food joints. Konami. What they did to Kojima was unacceptable, and it's baffling to me that these practices are becoming more commonplace in the industry. Also, their treatment of the Metal Gear and Silent Hill franchises makes me want to gag. This random little restaurant across the street from my office. I walked in one day to get a late lunch, as I had many times, and apparently they just changed their policy that they stopped serving food from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. There were no signs anywhere. The person behind the bar, who was also the owner, barked at me. UMMM. We don't serve food right now, so what do you want?
Leave me alone. Leave me
attitude,
alone.
so he can keep going without any
Thank
of
you.
my money or business. Asshole. Bank of America. I
Never
literally
again.
never opened
Never
an
again.
account with them, but I've closed 4 or 5. Papa John's. Blithering Tossbirds. Razor. Every single product I have ever purchased.
Was
from
N
the
in
broker
Black and
itself
White too?
to my starter
I forgot.
to get this thing, where
Was
I
N in
beat
Black and White?
then let go
Huh?
of the mouse to type, and the cursor would slowly
Oh.
creep towards
At least
the
say you
bottom
played
left
Black and White
corner
like
of
100
the screen.
times.
I also
I've
had a
never played
keyboard that started
Black
double-clicking
White
characters
White
when I'd
two,
only click
Black
them
two.
once.
I literally said this.
Not directly
You did not.
anyway.
You said you
I
played
even
one of them
didn't
like
get
100
the landline
times.
connected.
I said
People
I
just
played
viewed
part
us
of
were as
Black.
expensive these days.
Part
but
of
they
Black
used to be
100
dodgy
times?
as hell in the early 2000s and late 90s with massive issues of
never
overcharging
said I
every
played
time
one of
people
these.
carry
You
some
probably
for
you
years.
did say you
And
played one of these
they
games
now.
like a
I
bunch of
myself
times.
got a
You did say
$2,000
that.
phone bill
Never
that
said-
I had to
never
fight
said-
tooth
You
and nail
did.
to pay, and they were real
I did
jerks
not.
about it. This was well before any of the
Why are
crap
you
they have
lying?
these days. It still
I did
annoys
not
me
say that.
thinking about it
You're
now.
putting words in my mouth.
Time Warner
But you did
Cable.
say that,
Now
though.
that Google
I could've
Fiber is
sworn you said
available
that.
at my house.
No,
Having
no.
Google Fiber has been the most pleasant experience ever. No letters in the mail asking me to upgrade to phone/TV. No throttling. No bullcrap. And actually smart technicians that have solid answers when I call them on the phone. Frick TWC. Chevy. Those commercials are repulsive. HP. Bought a laptop from them a few years ago. Arrived without Wi-Fi capability. Tried to fix the problem myself by updating drivers, etc. When that didn't work, I asked customer service about it. They said it couldn't be their fault, so if I wanted it repaired I'd have to pay them full price to do so. Frick that crap. I could still use an Ethernet cable, so I did that. A few months later the casing broke at the hinge. Like the hinge had absolutely shredded itself. Pulling bottom and top casings half an inch apart. A year after that, even the Ethernet cable wouldn't allow it to get online. And didn't work, unless the laptop had like a 1 centimeter gap between the screen and keyboard. Literally all of this would have been avoided if they just owned up to the fact that maybe something got fricked up on their end and checked it out. But instead I refused to buy any of their stuff again. Nestle, Apple, EA. I also want to move away from Amazon gradually. God, Bungie is doing a great job at keeping me away from their product. Telekaya in Boardman, Ohio. FedEx. They offended me when one of their drivers caused me to get into an accident and to thank me fled the scene. Reported to FedEx they did not give a frick, since he didn't actually crash into me. Best Buy. RIP Future Shock.
What the
I
fuck?
went in looking for an external battery pack to charge my phone. I found one listed for half price at $30, so I grabbed it and went up the till. It rang up at full price, roughly $60. I told the cashier that it was listed
That
as
was some
half off.
bullshit, yo.
Well, she calls her manager to go check the price tag. Keep in mind the place I grabbed the charger from was just out of view, but I could see the top of the manager's head, and she was at the spot where I grabbed the charger. So 5 or so minimums go by,
Oh, it doesn't
and
work
she
'cause I
gets a
revived
call
him.
back from her manager, who tells her to have me show her where it was listed, and if it is listed to give it to me for that price. I take her over and, of course, the sale price had been removed. I told her I saw the manager back there and that she had removed the sale tag. She ended up giving it to me for half off, but said next time make sure you grab it from the right rack. Shocked by her attitude, I had her return the item immediately and haven't stepped foot in there since. Frick you, Best Buy. I used to work in the wine industry and really love wine. My favorite variable for years has been
Fuck this
Zinfandel
Docker.
red, not white, and I found one called Nana's Shortcake that I adore so much that I've literally brought it to multiple friends' houses just to spread the love. Found out today the brand is shutting down, and all wines are being pulled because the juggernaut wine brand Layer Cake is suing them. Why? Because they have the name Cake in their name and Nana's is a small enough label they can't afford to fight it. So frick Layer Cake. I'm never giving them my money. Business tactics like that are sickening. Panera. You know how sandwiches always taste better when someone else makes them. Panera never got the memo. I'll pay for overpriced food, but I know I can make a better sandwich than that. I can't believe no one has mentioned Tim Hortons. I won't be the only one to post these guys in Shaw. Our block is just a massive crap heap of a company. My wife and I always had a friend do our taxes for us, but this year he wasn't able to, so we go to our block.
I like Panera
We
Bread's
met with a manager at a pop-up branch in the Bay location. We were told our
tomato
cost
soup
was $150. We agreed, gave her the documents, and carried on our way. We came back from dinner, or shopping or whatever, and she passed us an invoice for $700. We refused to pay, and that's when she says she already filed the taxes and we have signed the paperwork.
Oh my god.
So we would have to pay. Told her it wouldn't happen, and thanks for doing them for free. She then explained she would cancel the work she did if we didn't pay. Argued back and forth over the price and we refused to go up anymore from the $150 we were originally told. We were told the manager was out and would phone us. I never received a call, despite my wife and I each phoning the branch and corporate numbers on multiple occasions over the course of a month. I did receive my tax refund though, so I'm assuming I'll never hear from them again, and I'll never darken their doorstep again as well. Chase, someone cashed a check as cash. They said I never reported the checks stolen, so I was responsible, and even after that they never gave me info on who or where it was cashed. Frick Chase. Barnes and Noble. After 8 years working for them and doing everything right except selling memberships, I moved on to jobs that paid better.
What?
But what made me boycott them was their decision to let go of full-timers and receiving managers earlier this year.
I told you to get a
This
fucking
action left a
Re-Nucleus.
bunch of my old friends slash co-workers
Bro, my mission is like level
One was
23.
close to celebrating 25
Get a
years.
Re-Nucleus, it's way,
And what does it
way more
get?
useful.
A freaking
I don't
big
feel like
stick.
getting
These were good people that not only knew their stuff, but made my 8 years there wonderful.
You
So
said what?
FB and N for screwing over my peeps. I posted my Hertz experience before, and I'll gladly post it again. Was in Seattle for work, and took a few days off to fly the girlfriend up and go to Olympic National Park over 4th of July weekend. Went to pick up the rental car I had reserved from the local Hertz location, and was told by the associate that they didn't have enough cars and the two people in line ahead of me were getting the
I'ma just
last
give me a
two
Dragon
cars
Titan.
they had. I step off to the
Get an
side
axe
to
you.
call Hertz Corporate, while the guy
I'm
is helping
deciding.
these two
Do I wanna
people,
axe you,
and I'm told the only
or do I
cars
want,
available in the area
that blue
are
and
at the
purple?
airport. A
You know?
$50
Blue and
cab ride
purple.
away. and
Hydrating?
that video doubled the
Yeah,
cost
hydrating.
of
Do you know
what I
the
had reserved
level
online.
evolves at?
I asked them to check
What
local
level?
places in the area.
Evolved at its
and
first
was
level
assured
like
I would be called
54.
back. I
And its
walked
next
back
level
over
like
to talk to the local
64.
agent to find he had bailed without saying
That's
a
not bad.
single word.
That's really
So at
bad.
this point I'm
How's that
40
really
minutes
bad?
from the airport.
Because you're basically
My
Considering-
girlfriend is getting
You
ready
catch
to
them
leave.
at like level
We still had a 2-hour drive to
30
make
or
that
level
night,
50 or something
and
like
no
that.
rental
That's
car
not
for the
that bad.
trip, unless I wanted to pay over double the original
First of
cost.
all,
I went
And then
to the
everybody
callback.
at the Elite Four is
Of
like
course,
level
don't get one. And call
50.
again 30 minutes later. I
even
get
then
told the
you're
same thing
barely
as
at your
request,
first
to
evolution,
speak to a manager
so
who of course
And,
just
but,
stepped
like,
out, but
with
will
that
call you
first
right
evolution,
back
I'm
when he
smacking
is
the
in.
whole Elite Four.
Another
So
30
what's your
minutes
point?
later, another call, and this time I told
Plus,
them
you
I'm
pick up
staying
a
on the
bunch of
line
dragon moves
until
on the
they
way to
connect
the
me
Elite
with a
Four.
manager or someone
Just
who
get an
can
axe
get
you.
me a car at the
You
price
pick up
I
Dragon
reserved.
Claw,
The
Dragon
associate
Tail.
told me they couldn't stay on the
I
line
look, you
with
forgot
me
what it
and
can actually
promptly
to be
hung
honest
up.
with you, Chief.
Frick
Get an
everything
Axiom.
about that company.
I forgot
On
what
top
to
of
touch.
that, I was
You
traveling
could get
enough
at the
for work
mountain.
at the time that I was one of their
The one next
Which
to
part of the
the
mountain?
blah, blah,
the
blah,
mountain-
Which part?
people.
Next to the fuck. I think it's called
Reverse
Reverse Mountain. It's the mountain next to the Skylar gym leader.
Comcast, crappy customer service. Repost from an earlier similar thread. State Farm. 4 years I had used them to
Jake from
insure
State
everything
Farm.
I've got, including myself. Total yearly premiums were over $3,500 for all of our vehicles. The house, my now ex-wife's jewelry, a separate $1 million rider, several life insurances, everything. A hailstorm hits our neighborhood about a year after we move in. Most of the neighbors actually had
I
proactive
damn
agents
sure
who
need a
came
fire
out to
tire.
the neighborhood and cut checks for
I know who's
You know
my
what I haven't found?
siding,
I'm kind of disappointed.
gutters,
I haven't found a
garage
single
doors,
fishing rod.
etc. I actually
My
had
fire
to
type is
call
gonna be
State
lit with
Farm myself before they'd come out to the house.
I know.
Which they wouldn't do. They tell me I have to collect. But myself
Said it
from
like
no
20
fewer
times,
than
my G.
450
No, I didn't. I
practice
said it
for
like 2
repairs.
times.
So I do that. I call them, and I would like to use his roofers.
What,
State
bro?
Farm says okay. We'll send a claims adjuster to
Search
inspect
it
your
up.
house. His inspection
What do you
indicates
think I'm
no
doing?
evidence of any damage.
Not searching it up.
Despite our leaky roof.
I'm a snack.
Missing shingles and the dimples in
I'm
my and
snack.
my wife's trucks from hail
Next time I see you.
strikes. The letter indicates
Next
we were
time,
committing
you haven't even
fraud
seen me
by
once.
making a fraudulent
Exactly.
claim on our
Exactly.
property insurance.
That's why I said the next
Despite
time.
over 40
That's
homes
what
in
I
our
didn't say what I
neighborhood of
think you would get.
88
I said
houses
next
getting
time I
new
see
roofs in a period of 6 weeks following the storm,
I know my
I
word.
dropped them immediately like
Right.
a bad habit, and I hope they burn in hell. Like a good neighbor, my ass.
Oh yeah, I forgot this game has
Penny
been too.
worked there for a year in high school, and everything about it was a mess. Granted, most of
Oh,
the
yeah.
issues were specific to my
Alright,
school,
116.
but it still turned me off the company. First
Oh,
off,
okay, that's not right.
they'd
That's not the
intentionally
right.
schedule
I'm
employees for
actually
roughly 38 hours a week,
actually.
because they had to transition you to full-time at 40. We'd
Oh,
often work
Moonraker
more than
rivalry.
40 hours including
Well, I want to
closing,
hit him in the-
but it didn't count.
Rivalry-
because we were
I think
scheduled for
rivalry
38. I
only
was also
works if
denied time
you're fighting
off
Pokemon
to
of
go to my own
opposite
high school
sex.
graduation. That crappy country store and deli down the road from my house that charged me $4 for a bacon, egg, and cheese
Oh,
sandwich.
cool, I found one.
That, upon further inspection, was made
Found
with
one
a
with
toasted
Moldbreaker.
hamburger bun as the bread. Never
Now I
again
gotta make sure I don't
arsehole.
kill it on accident.
Meanique. I went for an oil change. Like I've
Oh
done
my god, get the
100
fuck
times
away. What the
before.
fuck? You're at level
Seemed a bit
26.
quick, but hey, I needed to get back to work.
Alright, so I have my
anyway.
team. I
Got
got
onto
it.
the freeway on rampant. My car isn't accelerating.
Damn.
I found a
properly.
fracture.
Then all these warning
I found a
lights come
fracture.
on. I managed to pull over and cut the engine. Then when I tried to restart,
Well, over this
it
fracture
wouldn't
is
even turn over.
all
Long
48.
story short, they forgot to actually put oil back in the car and destroyed my engine. Though they paid for my rental car and replaced the engine for free. Not with a new one though. That on top of some other irritations ensured I'll never go back to a Meanique. Verizon. When my grandpa died, they wouldn't cancel his account even with a death certificate, and told me I was responsible for paying off the phones and paying the ETF. Volkswagen. Own 3 of them. So many repairs.
This is the
So
funniest
much
picture I've
costly
seen today.
maintenance. So
Hands
many
down.
weird problems.
This is the
Spectrum.
funniest picture I've seen today.
140 a month for
Send me your team.
125 tenths business class.
Ah!
I wanna see what your team
130
looks
over
like.
2. Ask them to come out as I need the uploaded higher.
I'm doing
And
something.
I'm paying for that.
I'm doing something.
They couldn't do a same day appointment.
I'm trying not to kill this
even though
fracture.
that's
I'm pretty
why
sure
I
I'm about to
pay
kill
for
it on
business
accident.
class. Next
You found a
appointment was
fracture?
5 days later.
Yup.
After spending a day talking
At the
over
bottom
the
of
phone,
Victory
there was
Road,
nothing they
I
could
found a
really do,
fracture.
and stated you don't really need the upload. But I work from home and do. Anyways, went to AT&T
Bro, this
Fiber.
person's 8 months
75 a month,
pregnant,
1,000/1,000.
and they have no stomach.
Much better.
Look at this.
Sears, bought a Craftsman's
Look at
now
this.
blower there. Used it one winter. Then followed instructions exactly as to how to use and maintain it. Would
Mel.
start the subsequent
Bro,
winter.
Mel.
Had the warranty for 2 years.
Actually,
so I
yeah.
bring it in to have
Scroll-
it repaired.
okay.
Get
Scroll to,
sent
like-
to third-party repair shop.
Mel.
Okay.
Third-party
Click the photo
repair shop
and scroll
says,
to the
let
left.
me guess. You
Scroll
followed
to the
the
right.
instructions? Yeah, that's
So
why it's
they're
broken.
6 months
Sears
pregnant.
then refused to cover
6
the
months
costs of the repair.
There's no way.
Look at the
And
photo.
I had to pay nearly
Look.
25%
That baby's
of the
dead.
cost of a new machine to repair it. Third-party shop taught me how to properly use/maintain it. Machine has
That baby's
been great
dying.
since then. They seem to be doing a good job of dying on their own, without needing my
Actually,
help.
no, she's
But
less
Sears
ripped
will
than she
never
was.
get another penny from me.
That
She was
baby's
way
not,
more ripped.
that baby's
Years
dying.
ago when I went on
This
my
was
first
her-
trip to Vegas, they royally
This
picked
was
up our
her, this was
itinerary.
her like a
When it came
few
time
days
to
ago.
leave, we check out of
That
the
baby's
hotel
I think she was
at
losing muscle.
10:30 to head to airport.
That baby's dying.
To catch our 1 p.m.
The baby's
flight,
dying or it's
we
gonna be
get to the
deformed.
ticket
It's
counter and
dying.
the person informs us that
Don't
we
like
missed
catching the
our
great ball,
flight,
I want to
the
catch
one
the
that was booked at 6:25 a.m. I immediately showed him the itinerary that we had printed out just 2 days prior, showing the flight information, to which he informs me
Bro,
that
why
flight
won't the
was
tractor get
scheduled
caught?
3 weeks ago. Travelocity not once sent us an updated itinerary and refused to take any responsibility. We ended up having to rent a car and basically wander
Bro,
around Vegas for an
y'all
extra day,
Vansula?
which doesn't sound bad.
Smack
until
that
you
flying
realize that the
I'll be
only
honest with
flight
you.
we could get back home didn't leave until
The fighting?
11:45 p.m. and
The
had
flying.
layovers.
Oh, I just
I
said
got home around 9 a.m.
It
the following
smacked
day
it.
with
I think
just
it also
enough
smacked,
time to change and go to
The
work.
dragon. No, I used
Papa
Scraggy for the
John's in
dragon.
Pizza Hut. Papa John is just
He had
an
mock beef,
all-around
he would
asshole,
just
and
take
his
one
pizza
out,
isn't that
And
good.
then he had flying jump
Pizza
kick.
Hut is just plain gross. My wife used to work at one and told me how management would make them use vegetables that
What do I
had
wanna
turned
call my
slimy,
fracture?
and how the garlic butter was flammable.
We'll call it Vivian.
What should you know before
it's
getting
about
married?
time.
When my grandfather asked my
I have a reason
grandmother
behind it,
to
but,
marry
you know,
him, her
you're
father
just
made
gonna-
them both sit down
just not
and
gonna-
write a list of 10 deal
Is it
breakers. They then had to discuss them all to decide if they could both live with them before he would give his blessing. In
It's
over 50 years of marriage, neither one crossed the deal breaker line, and they had a
You don't
head
have to
start
do
on
it.
open
Yes, I do.
communication channels
Look at my
from
fucking
the
Instagram.
experience. The other thing they
You didn't
did
want
was
it.
to ensure
Look
that each
at
of
my
them got
Instagram.
at least 1 hour of me time every day from Monday to Friday. The other would watch the kids,
Oh, yeah,
and
you
there
do
would
have
be
to.
no
I
chores
can
done
just look at
during
your
that
no, you only have
time,
one
and
contact in
weekends
your
were
feed.
family time.
One what?
Don't forget to
In
continue
your,
going on
like,
dates
the
after you're
profile that you
married,
set up,
where you're going to spend
for
holidays,
your, for
how
your,
much time you're going
for
to
your,
spend with each
for your-
family. Most people
for your-
don't realize how
For my
much stress
Insta?
each
For your-
other's family
no, for
bring
your-
to the table. Always be a
for your
united
Apple
front.
account.
Excuse me?
You should know that, while you think you might be communicating well, you can always
What'd you
do
say?
better. What I mean by that is that relationships take rigorous
Apple
honesty
ID,
and compassion.
You only have one
An
in.
example of many. I might sacrifice something because my significant other prefers something else. Not communicating that you are sacrificing something
now
to your
level
so is a
fracture.
problem. Sacrifices can turn into resentments, and your partner has no idea that this is happening. If something bothers you, say it.
I should have just
Don't
parked
be
the radio
desperate and let
instead of
things
catching
slide all the
fracture
time.
away from my
You'll
client.
turn better eventually. The more honest you are about how you feel about this little things. When the bigger stuff comes around, you'll be strong as a relationship to be able to take it. Being married means going through the thick and the thin. If your relationship can't take you being honest about what you like and don't like, even the smallest details, then how can you expect dealing with serious matters? I don't know
But yeah,
if
my
I'm
team will
explaining
confirm that.
myself well, but
I
I
kinda
hope
wanna
I can
replace
really
him, Danny,
transmit the root of
but
what I'm
I don't
trying
know.
to
Why
say.
is it
I don't know
trash?
how I
Be
feel about
honest, deeply.
Huh?
Even
Why
if
is
it's
this trash?
most discussions are a
I mean,
result of something else
not
that has
really.
nothing to do with
He's
what's
just not
going
really
on.
doing
Stop the
anything.
moment. Get honest. Get
It's not
real.
trash, he's just not doing
Speak with emotions.
You know?
Because you're not let.
Communicate
How
from
is
the
it gonna do
heart.
something if you don't put it in the
Resolve
front
your
row?
issues. If you don't
Look
have
here.
this down, before you
Yeah,
are
it's like
married,
no
you are
tag.
going
I
to
mean,
have
he
to
either
work
use
on
it
it
for
constantly
things or
from
whatever,
now
but-
on. My marriage crashed because of
I could
this.
just use the
It didn't
controller,
take.
you know, instead of
Because of
like.
infidelity or economics or anything other
The
than
con-
the
you mean the
fact
controller
controller
that
that wasn't
I
gonna
would say
evolve?
something, and she would
Shut up.
understand something
Right.
else. We were two people living together who
Shut up.
felt
It was
like
gonna
we were
evolve.
all alone.
Shut up.
You have to
Make
trade.
sure you're both getting
Like I
married
was
for the
saying.
right reasons. Not to save a relationship, or because it is what they want, or to keep family
But
happy.
yeah.
Pretend you aren't
I
going
need-
to have a wedding.
I don't
Still
know.
want to get married?
There's
That
nothing
you
in
agree
your
on the
time.
important topics. Children,
I've
and
noticed.
how to raise them.
Literally,
Finances
like,
slash
it's cool and all,
expenditures.
and Chandler is
Future
cool and all.
plans.
But-
Religion. These are the likeliest
That's
topics
like only one
to have little
of
to
it.
no
That's like
compromise
one of
on.
the two.
So, if you
There's only two
disagree
guitar
drastically,
types
it will
in the game.
eventually cause
You
a
even
rift.
look it up.
That people often change throughout
There's
their
only two.
lives.
Trust me.
But, not just because they
Trust
got
me.
married.
There's
Many
really
people
only two.
get married with either the expectation that marriage will change their so, or that the person will stay the same forever. Neither are correct. People will change, but not always in the ways that you expect, and you have to be willing to adapt to them.
Okay, my Pokemon,
It's
they're
work,
either
and
they're
it's
between
everyday
level
work.
40 and level 50.
If you want a healthy relationship, you need to tend to that relationship. How they relate to their family, and if you can handle it. If Say, your partner's family is nauseatingly close and loves to spend time together. Are you down with that? Is your partner good at setting boundaries? In-laws can destroy relationships. As a recent widower, I can only say this: nothing is forever. Cherish every moment you have together, good, bad, or mundane. When you fight, remember that you two are on the same side. Sometimes it'll feel like it's you versus her. Whenever it feels like that, stop, back up, figure out how it's you both versus the world, or you both versus the fear they're feeling, or you both versus the problems you're having, or whatever, and not the two of you against each other.
Damn, your levels are so
Try to
inconsistent.
remember
It's
that
hurting
when
my
you're not
eyes.
fighting too, if you can't do
What do you
this,
mean they're
well,
inconsistent?
How's
They're
144,
married
how's
and
150,
do
how's
work on this.
147, and how's
It's
143, and how 140?
divorces are expensive.
Okay, so the 40
Go
was
to
just
IQ
caught.
together.
That's one.
It's
Right?
like Hunger Games
Alright,
for
that's one.
relationships. You're
Two.
so most likely fell in love with the
I'm
best
training
and
them to
strongest
level 50,
version of
so,
you.
yeah.
When you get married, make sure that your soul will still love you when you're down. It's a lifetime.
43 and 44 are
Hard
pretty
times
cool.
will come. This goes both ways. Also, marriage is work.
I bet your team's
If
like
you
level
don't put effort
35,
into
level
it,
32,
it becomes
level
boring.
36.
No, they're all
Sexual
either.
compatibility.
I just called
My
it
wife's very
27,
vanilla,
and the rest
I'm
are
certainly
30.
not a 10 on
31
the
and-
scale. But our
Okay, but it's
sexual
more consistent than what you're having.
They're all level
I'm not
31?
gonna divorce her cause she won't let me go down on her by any means.
No, there's
But it does
130.
get frustrating sometimes.
And there's a
When I
32.
want to spend a little more time on each other and all she wants is penetration. At least she likes giving me blowjobs.
Facts.
And that's nice.
Facts.
Just
Excuse me?
because you lock
This
it
burrito
down
looks
doesn't
good.
mean it gets any easier. You only get out of marriage what you put into it. 7 years. Sarta's whole hell is other people think sort of rears its head. When you get married, you'll realize that relationships are a compromise, and that no matter who you end up
It really
marrying,
are.
there will be some awfulness, some staleness.
To be honest.
1, don't have kids right away. Take
Stop
time
making me
to grow
hungry.
with
What did I
each
tell you about
other.
doing that?
2, take turns letting each other win an argument,
Then go
even
eat.
if you are 100% right.
Don't.
Sometimes it's
Don't
not worth
eat.
the fight.
Don't
Life
eat.
is too short to live. Don't waste it. 3, if you forgive your partner for something, don't ever bring it back up. Leave it in the past. This will take practice. 4, let your significant other go out with friends. It's important to trust one another. Always know that they have their best intentions and trust that they are not out doing bad things behind
Why do
your
you
back.
send me stuff on Snapchat?
5,
Send it
your
on
spouse may
Instagram.
hurt you unintentionally. It's important to talk and address
It's
these
literally not.
concerns with one another. Communication is key.
Wee
6,
wee
come
wee.
home happy after work. Even if you've had the worst day of your life, leave all your
I
work
guess.
problems at work and don't bring them home. If you continue to come home angry, your spouse will learn to stay away from you
Ecuadorian
and will
versus
not be
Kiwi.
looking
Which
forward to
snack
see
will-
you. 7, show appreciation. Even if you leave a note in their wallet or you send a quick email during work, let your spouse know how much you love them. And most importantly, grow with each other. It takes time to figure things out. I got married really young and lost connections with relatives because they did not approve. Fuck that. 10 years later I'm still happily married and haven't talked to them since. Trust your instincts. You have all the rights to live your life the way you want. Don't lose your individualism. My best friend recently got divorced and discovered that he didn't even know what he liked to do anymore. The person you're going to marry fell in love with you. Don't lose that. It's okay to have different hobbies/interests. That if your relationship is on the rocks, getting married won't fix it. A big expensive wedding that puts you far into debt isn't worth it. When you need a new boiler/roof/car or some other necessary life expense pops up 6 months after the wedding, you should have the big discussions before you get married and have kids. Egg, if you do have kids, are you both on the same page regarding potential issues that may occur during the pregnancy? Are you both willing to parent a very poorly child? What about if one of your parents becomes ill or dies? What do you expect to do then? Will the surviving parent come and live with you, etc.? What about the big holidays? How will you spend them? And whose family will you spend them with? If you don't agree on these things now, you won't after you get married, and then you are stuck in a more difficult position. If you're prone to loneliness, make sure you're not just trying to seal the deal to end feeling lonely. You can still be lonely in a bad relationship. Make sure you emphasize each other's happiness, not needed to function. You're so stands on having children. This really needs to be talked out fully. Even if you both end on a maybe, it should be an honest maybe from both parties. That person isn't going to change much. If they did things now that drive you crazy, they almost certainly always will. Also,
How many times
if
you
you
gonna do
don't already live with them, know that transition can be stressful. It's an adjustment period. Don't panic if there are a few random disagreements about weird stuff like how to hang the towels, or if you suddenly have to adjust to sleeping next to someone who snores. It's normal. Marriage is for life, but people continue to change. This will be particularly noticeable the younger you get married. Be prepared to communicate a lot about this on both ends, and learn to adapt. The person you are marrying today likely will be a very different person in 10 years. Your partner's credit report / score. The state capitals. Just because you don't want to look like an idiot when someone asks you what the capital of Pennsylvania is and you say, Philadelphia. Go into marriage with an open and creative mind. There are a lot of ways to have a good marriage. One kind of marriage that works well for one couple can be a very different experience for another. Many of your friends who have marriages they describe as happy are probably arrangements that would not make you happy and vice versa. Also, even in the cases of your closest friends, you don't really know what's going on under the hood, so to speak. And keep in mind that almost every marriage that ended up splitting up, say, 10 years later, was a very happy relationship for a while. What you see now may not last forever. This is all to say, be careful comparing your relationship to those of others, and take advice with a grain of salt for all these reasons. However, I don't completely subscribe to the idea that you should never compare your relationship to another. I actually think it's important to have role models. Think of couples who have the type of relationship that you do want, and see how they did it. You can also ask them questions along the way, and know you can trust their judgment. Don't get married just because you had a baby together. Sometimes people are better parents to their children when they aren't a couple. A good marriage is a 60/40 effort, where both people try to give 60. You can still have a traditional reception without going overboard, and that money is best saved for other things. I was in NJ when I got married. The average wedding cost is over $40,000. I spent about $10,000. Even $10,000 is ridiculous. But I feel like spending less than 1/4 of the average price was good. Especially because we didn't go crazy trying to find the least expensive way to do it. Everything was taken care of by the venue. And we still had a served dinner, open bar, DJ, etc. Nothing was missing. Just know that, according to statistics, roughly 50% of marriages end up lasting forever. If your honeymoon is in Hawaii, don't tell your wife you got laid by another woman. This might not be a popular opinion, but I honestly feel like you need to be with someone for at the very least a year, and I'm talking living together for a year. When you live together for a full 365 days, you see these people in all different kind of ways. It's way different than date nights here and there, and oh but I'm over there all the time. So it's the same thing, it is not the same thing. Sharing a bedroom and entangling your lives is a whole new ball game. Trust me, the people that say things changed after they got married say that because that's when they finally moved in together. I feel like you need to know a lot of things before you commit to someone for the rest of your life. You need to know cleanliness habits, their table manners, their relationships with family in depth, how they handle big life-changing events, like a death in the family, how they handle their finances, what their work ethic is like, and you need to know what's important to them sexually above all else. After we got married, absolutely nothing changed at all, because we figured all this stuff out long before he even asked me to marry him. Oh, also make sure they're cool with you having a life outside of them. That is probably the most important thing. The fact I'm engaged and Reddit notified me of this creeps me out only a little. FBI guy watching on the other side. What exactly are you trying to tell me? How to just let things go sometimes. Being married is just hanging with your best friend every day. Treat them like you would your very best friend, and you'll do just fine. I've only been married for about 8 months. but it's already been quite a journey. Honestly, I think what people need to know, women especially, is to not obsess so much about the wedding ceremony itself and the idea of being married, but what marriage actually is. Your wedding is one day, marriage is a lifetime. I've seen my husband mourn. I've seen him sick as a dog vomiting. We've fought and made up. We've both hurt each other and apologized for it. And that's just in 8 months. Marriage is a team effort. You both work hard. You listen to each other. You support each other. Just because you're a bride doesn't mean you're a princess, or that your husband has to wait on you hand and foot. It's gross how common of an expectation that is now. If I see that his hands look like this so mine can look like this pig one more time, I'm gonna scream. Once you get married, it isn't all about you. Sometimes he's your rock, and sometimes you have to be his. Communication is key. If you have enough of it before marriage, you'll marry the right person. If you have enough of it during marriage, they'll stay the right person. You can be prudent. You can try to beat the odds and marry someone as statistically similar to you as possible. You can wait until you've been together for 12 years to have a child, married for 7, and that still won't stop yourself from waking up in intensive care, shut off from everyone you know, penniless, with none of your possessions. I guess my advice is make sure you don't become isolated. Keep contact with friends and family, even if they kind of suck. Don't build your dreams around one person. Always have a FRICU fund, and save enough that you don't have to dip into retirement. Don't end up like me, penniless and alone past my best years, because I loved a boy so much I took the part about forsaking all others literally. 1 in 6 couples are infertile, so if you want kids, now or later, get tested. For men, it's sperm count. For women it's FSH and AMH tests. You're gonna have to fight to have these tests with doctors. So make up the fact that infertility runs in your family and insist on the tests. I insisted on the tests, and I was told I was too young to be sick. My husband and I waited, while unbeknownst to us, I was going through menopause at 24 years old. Then after 3 years of marriage of waiting, when we tried, the doctor said I had the ovaries of a 60-year-old woman, no eggs left. Infertility is real, talk about it. Basically, my only window for having kids was my first year of marriage, and I had no idea. Adoption is not the band-aid you think it is. Adoption is a separate decision. Expensive. Can take years, and it's not that baby's responsibility to heal your broken heart. Your body doesn't care about your career or better job. It's just getting older, with or without you. Don't be stupid and assume you have all the time you want. The person you are marrying. Forever is an extremely long time to be with the wrong person. Make sure you are the honest and true you, and that your needs and dreams are understood. Also hope your partner is honest when they say they know what their needs and dreams are. Make sure those align with each other, or it's something each of you can truly support without resentment or jealousy. It's a bond for life and both parties need to be 100% committed. No lies, no bullcrap, no games. Communication on an almost annoying level. Don't be afraid to be heard, and if they love you, they need to accept what you have said and understand it and share how they feel about it too. It will be hard and sometimes you might hit the snooze button and fall asleep. Try not to let this happen, otherwise you may wake up to a sinking ship that's on fire. If you aren't there, really look at your situation and try to grow together to that point. Spending money for an expensive wedding is ridiculous. Don't do it. 1 point, how to communicate effectively. 2 point, learn to read financial data. 3 point, everything about your partner. 4 point, everything about their families. 5 point, whether you and your partner want to raise a child. Get a prenuptial agreement. If you can't discuss money, finances, assets, and expenses while you are still in love, it is a big red flag. All marriages end, either death or divorce. Plan for both. Get a prenuptial agreement and a will. Go to pre-marriage counseling. It was the best thing that my wife and I did. Some religions, Catholicism, have this as part of getting married in the church. We didn't do that, but we did have a friend who was a counselor. That was very good. Normally you'd never go to a friend as a counselor as there's a conflict, but it really worked well for us as we went over everything from how we each like to budget, how we view household chores, what the priorities are, and how to argue productively, which is the hardest to do. It's definitely not going to be all roses, but the good should definitely outweigh the bad. Things will pop up that you don't agree with, or you do something that the other person finds irritating. You deal with it and move on, because at the end you realize that small stuff. In regards to the actual wedding, know that you will not remember a lot of it. It's such a blur. Everything that is labeled as wedding X will cost 2x more than it should. If you are serving alcohol, do an independent poll. The caterer will always give you the wrong advice on the percent of red vs white, liquor and drink types. Your respective answers to all the controversial crap, and whether you two can come to an agreement on all of them. Topics such as, kids or not, related to above, circumcision, previous criminal convictions, previous crazy exes, religions, convictions / orientations or lack thereof, finances, frickin' finances. It's what most couples fight over. There's probably more, but those are the ones that I've seen people fight over first, and the only way to improve your marriage is to improve yourself. Do both parties feel the same about children? How many? How will you raise them? Strict or friendly? Private or public school? Are you religious? And will you raise them as such? Pets?
I've been having the worst RNG in this
Is
whole
one
run.
party more rich than the other? Prenup? Know their family background very thoroughly. Politics?
Thank you.
Get that out of the way. Marry someone that can be your best friend and knows how to cook. Because beauty fades away, but hungry is always there. Do not wash your wife's clothes, because you may ruin them if you don't put them in a gentle cycle or hang dry them. Everything about if their and your sexuality actually work together. Libido, frequency, preference, some of their kinks. Not knowing each other's sexual preferences is a huge roadblock in marriage, and can possibly lead to affair / cheating / a sexless marriage years down the road. If you aren't sexually compatible before getting married, don't get married. Period. People view it wrongly as a business deal. They give me something I want, and in return I will give them something. Marriage is not about a 50/50 arrangement. It is not about a 60/40 or so on. Marriage is a 0/100. You give that person everything, and you expect nothing in return. You love them. You take care of them. You are with them at their best and worst. Until death. It is a lifelong union. Not based on fairness or survival, but commitment to each other. The marriage is a public announcement as much as it is a celebration of a selfless union. If you base a marriage on the idea of fairness or 50/50, eventually someone's selfishness will destroy it. If you base your marriage on selflessness and the knowledge people are human and will make mistakes, there will always be room to grow, understand, move past arguments, and continue to love each other till death. Make sure that you both actually want to get married. Late to the game. But this is the first comment I ever saved on Reddit. The user has since deleted his profile.
Get the burn, get the
Comment
burn.
is 4 years old. Old man here. Married 4 decades. Look, it doesn't matter what you find out about them now. The question is, what are you going to find out about them after 10 years, 20 years, and 30 years? People change. They change a lot. Boy Scout this year. 10 years from now, you find out he is secretly doing hard narcotics, and has been for a couple of years. She's shy and doesn't talk much. Raising teenage boys will change that for sure. She'll be a loudmouth harpy, and dressing you down loudly by association. Sexually driven almost to obsession. How about zero libido in the same
Yo, like,
person 10
almost
years
all my
later?
Pokemon
Or
are
how
weak
about
to
libido
bug.
that
Half of them are
suddenly
weak to
manifests
bug.
in
Oh
a
my
prude
god.
who suddenly can't stop freaking
I just
everything
realized
shaped
that.
like a cucumber.
Damn.
Kids, shaking head. You have no idea what it means to be in a long-term relationship. You think it is about getting to know each other, and then you cruise through. That is wrong. You think you are cruising, and while you are busy taking them for granted, then turn around and bang. Some ridiculous new hobby, a new look, now fat, now skinny, now muscles, now fat again, and now back to muscles. Oops, cancer, and affair, more cancer. How can you have an affair during chemo? It does not stop. Marriage and long-term relationships are not for cowards or the weak of will. You don't stay together because of love. Romance fades into family familiarity and competition for control of children's future. or trust. You cannot trust humans, they are unpredictable even to themselves. You stay together only out of sheer willpower, and because you have a sense of humor about what the person might be up to next, and you want to see it, and help them through it. The first decade of a relationship is like some kind of a joke. People get divorced during that time.
The
But
barbs.
they needed to, because after 4 decades, those pussies would be taking their own lives or end up in 12-step rehab centers. Oh, that happens too. You'll see. Wait until their parents die, and then yours die, and then your brother sues you to get all of the inheritance, but won't clean out the basement of their house filled with crap. Then you find out he has a grow lab on a farm, and D is investigating him. Oh wait, your brother was shot to death. Now you need knee replacement. What do you mean you slept with my brother? Why the hell are you telling me this now after 30 years? Good God. Woman, it doesn't matter now. Walking down the aisle tomorrow, grab the oh crap handles now. In 40 years, you will be able to look a marine drill instructor in the eyes and say, out of my way, kid, I have seen crap you would not believe. The marriage is far more important than the wedding. That you're going to get crap ton of contradictory unsolicited advice. A relationship requires both people to make it work. Know each other's financial situation beforehand. Want kids? You better be sure your partner feels the same way. Are you of the same faith?
I
Or
hate
different
them kids.
ones? How will you raise
Fuck
kids?
them kids.
Laugh often. Listen more. You will need some time for yourself every so often. Utilize it. You're going to fight. You're not going to have sex nearly as often as you think you will. It takes time to have nice things. Never, ever stop showing your spouse how much you love and appreciate them. Be sure that you are the father. How much are the other's student loans? Husbands of Reddit. What is something your wife does, or says that makes you think, man, I love her? What's the unintentionally funniest thing
Nothing.
you've ever heard a child say? Family went to Olive Garden restaurant. Waitress delivers the obligatory bowl of salad with the salad tongs. I proceed to start mixing up the salad with the tongs. My 4-year-old daughter sits up and stares into the bowl, and then looks up at me and asks, "What are you looking for?" Uncle Noob almost drank and drove us home. It was the Coca-Cola, you little narc. 3-ish-year-old girl on a airplane loudly announced, "My daddy left me and mommy, and I don't know where he went." Then she pointed to her mom's tummy and told everyone there is a baby in there too. The mom had to remind her to tell the rest of the story, that daddy had taken another plane to a different city for work, but would be meeting up with them in a few days on their family vacation. We were bringing lunch to the teachers at school, and my daughter announced that we made a special soup for Mr. S because he's a virgin. Mr. S is a vegan. My partner's 5-year-old daughter was watching me do my makeup in the mirror, and she said, "You look like an angel." That's the sweetest thing she's ever said to me. So I gushed like a teenage girl and thanked her with a big grin on my face.
I'm about to get my
Then
last
she
Pokemon.
elaborated, "You look like you're dead." My
Oh.
7-year-old son slept on the top bunk of a bed with his brother down below. He's a bit of a tank, and was sitting around 28 kgs. One night he asked me to put him to bed, and I said, "Mate, you're getting really heavy. I'm not sure that I can lift you all the way up that high anymore." He looked me straight in the eye and said, "Dad, you just need to believe in yourself." My niece was 3 when my nephew was born. She came up to me and my girlfriend when we visiting my sister in hospital and said, "So am I not allowed to punch the baby in the head?" Me, how old do you think grandpa is? 5 years old. Nephew, 0.12. Me, no, he's actually 62 inches. Nephew, ooh, he's going to die soon. Me, 8 vertical bracket. I once heard my son, who just watched the old Star Wars series, ask my grandfather, British W.W. to the vet, what side he fought on in the war, and my grandfather responded with the Empire. My kid cried for days, because he thought his great-grandfather fought for the Galactic Empire. Just happened last week when kiddo number 2 was born. I brought kiddo number 1, just turned 5, to the hospital for the first time, to meet his new bro. He takes one look at the sleeping baby, and says he's so cute. Then, he turns to my wife, looks her in the eye, and says with genuine concern, "How's your vag?" The nurses lost it. One little girl asked her friend, "Does your mom have a baby in her belly?" The woman was quite overweight. The kid says, "Oh, there's every possible thing in there." Sorry, it's hard to get it across in English, but it was hilarious. So my almost 4-year-old has a speech delay, and she pronounces horses whore, and she has a My Little Pony toy that she takes everywhere. Anyway, she dropped it in Walmart one time and I didn't notice, and was walking away. She was in the cart, and she yells, "Mommy, my whore. Get my whore." Oh god, I laughed so freaking hard, as did a lot of people around me. Obviously had some nasty looks. But whatever. She thinks she says horse. We are working on it. Watching Star Wars with my 5-year-old nephew. Great scene with Darth Sidious sitting in his little chair facing outer space. You can't see
you're about to
him,
body
all
everyone
you can
here
see
because it's
is
raining.
the chair. Before he does his big spinning chair reveal, Sidious says something like, "At Skywalker, I've been waiting for you," or something. My nephew turns to me, shrugs his shoulders, and says, "Talking chair." Don't know why this caught me, but I lost it. At the zoo watching a rhino and a young family is next to me. Out of the blue the rhino got an erection. Something brought to my attention by the young boy yelling, "Whoa, look at his wiener. Is yours that big, daddy?" The father turned bright red, while the mother laughed her ass off. My niece likes to sing in front of everyone at holiday gatherings. When she finishes she says, "Everybody crap" instead of "everybody clap." Always gets a good laugh. I'm a mailman, and one day a little girl came to the door to get the mail. She looked up at me with a big smile, and said, "Thank you, whaleman." I spent the rest of the day thinking about how much more interesting of a job that would be. I used to ask my little cousin, around 5, 6 years old at the time, if she knew any swear words. She started listing off all the bad words she knew. Hate, stupid, crap, frick, wait. What was that last one? It escalated so quickly and nonchalantly that it had me dying. Uncle had a tick in his ear when we went camping. My nephew pronounced Tigger's peen and would not stop shouting, "Uncle Tom's got a big ol' peen in his ear," over and over again. "Dad, what's that?" "That's a cemetery." "What's a cemetery?" "That's where they bury dead bodies." "Oh." A few minutes pass. "Dad, yeah? Where do they bury the heads?" Went to McDonald's once and headed for the bathroom. Just before I opened the door, this small child busts through with his friend, and he yells, "I ain't washing my hands." I'm a bad boy. This happened 4 years ago, and I still laugh about it. I worked as a teacher's assistant for a year and I have a weird last name, so I got the kids to call me Mr. A if they couldn't pronounce it. But some kids still tried to say their interpretation of my name. One of the kids said, "Mr. A, I'm gonna start calling you Mr. Avocado, because I can't remember your last name, and I don't like avocado." My husband was pulled up for random breath testing, as the cop told us we were fine to go on our way. My youngest child piped up, "Well, that went better than last time." Turns out he meant last time hubby was runted. He bitched about it because it was raining, and the shoulder he was pulled up on was boggy. My son, after wearing pants all winter and switching to shorts, "Dad, I need sleeves for my legs." My little 6-year-old cousin told me that his mom laid an egg and he hatched from it when explaining how he was born. As a child, my brother didn't like peanuts. As a treat after dinner one Sunday we had cornettos. My brother peeled the wrapper off and then turned to my dad and said, "Dad, can you nibble my nuts off?" My aunt wet herself laughing. In the Lebanese dialect, Arabic, the word "iri" means my bean. A young Lebanese boy was counting to 100 in English when he got to the 80s. Instead of saying 80, he replaced it with "iri." "Iri 1, Iri 2, Iri 3, Iri 4, Iri 5, Iri 6, Iri 7, Iri 9. We lost 2 people that day due to excessive laughter. Driving through Iowa with my 5-year-old. There's like 100 corns here. "Daddy." Son's name is Skylar, daughter is 6 years old, wife was going back to college and we were talking about scholarships, and we notice that our daughter is crying. I mean, she's wailing and sobbing. After we get her calmed down we ask her what's wrong. She says she doesn't want us to send Skylar to the moon. WTF. Why would we do that, we ask. She responds, why else
Damn.
would you need a Skylar ship?
God damn.
In the middle of my local zoo there's a big clearing, where they let all the African animals, except the carnivores, obviously, mingle, in an attempt to recreate a natural habitat. Last time I was there I was standing near a little boy and his mother, and the kid was in awe of what he was seeing. Suddenly, though, he saw something that got him really excited. Look, mummy, look, he shouted, pointing. It's a pigeon. The thing is, he was absolutely right. In an African setting, an English pigeon is the exotic one. My kid and me, after a large blowout I had with my ex-wife over something stupid. Our two daughters heard my ex unloading on about how she hates me, and how terrible I am. And I knew, when she gets like that I have to walk away. She would say some pretty cutting things. Anyways, I'm angry, and I go sit on the couch in the living room with the lights off. My 4-year-old walks up to me. L, Dad, no one likes you, eh? Me, yeah, I gathered. Thanks. L, Mommy doesn't like you. I don't like you, Helen. 1.5 yo, doesn't like you. Me, yeah, thanks. L, hahaha, I played a joke on you. I'm kidding. I don't know what Helen thinks. Mommy, check out my cool nipple. Belly button. The word she was looking for was belly button. When my daughter was almost 2, she learned the word juice, and it became her favorite word. She didn't always nail the pronunciation, but she was damn proud of herself every time she said it. One Sunday, after church, I was holding her on my hip, having a conversation with the pastor, whom everyone in my family and half the church didn't like at all. So my kid, wide-eyed and excited to show off her new word, pointed at the pastor and said juice. Only, it came out douche. I swear, I nearly died trying not to laugh out loud right there. That's the day my 20-month-old became my hero. My boyfriend's little brother was 6/7 at the time, and had recently learned some anatomy terms. For some reason, he had anus and peen confused, and no matter how many times my boyfriend and I tried to tell him that the anus is in back, and the penis in front, and every other way we could figure out how to say it, he just wasn't getting it. It got pretty loud, at one point, with my boyfriend yelling no, the anus doesn't pee, and his brother saying something along the lines of why do anuses get bigger when you get older? Eventually, I pulled out my anatomy textbooks, and showed him a few diagrams and he finally figured it out. Still the funniest thing ever. There was a field of cows and calves and I heard a little boy say, "Mummy, look, baby beefs." My daughter at maybe 2 or a little under proclaimed to our family that my daddy, me, has a front tail. Who was president of the Soviet Union during World War II, Jackie Chan. One morning I asked my kiddo, who was 18 months old, what she wanted for breakfast. She's just hit a new talking phase, and like to be asked her opinion. She grins, looks me in the eye and says, "Frick." Record scratch. Husband and I freeze, and look at each other. "Sorry, sweetie. Mommy didn't understand you. What do you want to eat?" Grin falls and she gets that stubborn look in her eye. Frick. Husband and I blank stare. Frick. Frick. Meltdown. Frick. Frick. Fuwak. Tears and snot everywhere. We really try not to laugh at her, but we lost it. We start laughingly accusing each other of slipping up. Then she starts really crying. So we sober up. Comfort. ECT. I go make a waffle in the toaster for her. When I hand her the waffle the tears stop, and we get a big grin. Frick. Thank you. She reinvented the word frick for waffle. It took months to break the habit and she would regularly start asking for waffles, while out and about. I'm assuming my nephew overheard someone say this, but as he is 6 I was impressed at his quick response. He was making a rocket out of cardboard. He said, "I enjoy making things." My niece who is 4 replied, "I like making things too." My nephew then said, "Yeah, making mischief." Me and my sister-in-law couldn't stop laughing. My niece was very confused. Literally 5 seconds ago a little girl asked me, "Are you Melissa?" I'm a 250-pound bearded man. I'm decidedly not Melissa. Towards the very end of Sunday service for my religion, everyone in standing in a quiet last moments of prayer. Suddenly we hear this tiny 4-year-old voice start saying loudly, "Choo choo, I'm a train," as he runs around in between all the people. It was hilarious. My cousin was a toddler, didn't have much of a vocabulary, and was easily excited by everything construction related, thanks to Bob the Builder. We were on the sidewalk when this guy's driving by slowly. My cousin starts yelling at the top of his lungs, "Dumb frick, dumb frick, dumb frick," over and over while laughing and pointing right at him. I presume the guy driving the dump truck was confused. It was about 9 years ago, when I was chilling at my sister's place during summer break. She was watching a 60 Minutes interview of recently elected President Barack Obama with my nieces in the room. The youngest at the time, who was 3, saw the screen, and then yelled, "Oh, it's abracadabra," when she saw who was talking. Hey, who farted in my pants? My 3-year-old son. When I was a kid I once called my sister a pregnant mosquito. I don't remember why, but it still comes up at family gatherings. Had a friend who transported goods for a pharmaceutical company. He jokingly referred to it as delivering drugs in front of his 4-year-old nephew. One day, the friend was supposed to pick his nephew up from daycare. His caretaker asked him conversationally what his uncle did for a living. Of course, the kid spouts off that his uncle delivered/sold drugs for a living. This did not go over well with the caretaker. She proceeded to call the mother, who burst out laughing before she could explain. I was trying to get my nephew to stop being a loner and socialize with his mates when he ripped me a new one. How come I have to be like everyone else when you get to be gay? Got to hand it the kiddo. He made a valid point. I was a single mom to a 6-year daughter and a 5-year son, and I was going to buy them treats from an ice cream truck. I gave them limited options due to the prices, and as we walked away, my son asked why. My little mini-me launched into a story about how we need to be grateful for the blessings we have. Then she said, "Some kids don't even have toys. Some kids don't have anything to play with except their own bodies." When my nephew was a toddler, around Christmas time, he asked me, "Uncle Extrashaman, can we sled ride in hell?" I was kind of taken aback, trying not to laugh. We all heard it. My sister cleared it up though. He was trying to say, "Can we sled ride down the hill?" I was explaining to my 4-year-old son what muscles are, and asked him to look at my biceps. He said, "Hold on, I need to go get my magnifying glass." I didn't even know what to say, and my wife is still laughing about it. My 18-month-old daughter, my wife, and I went to the beach about a month ago. We are teaching her manners, so when she wants something she needs to follow the formula. "Thing I want, please." We are teaching her to tell us when she wants to go to the
Oh my
beach,
god, why are so many
but it's
nails?
sounding more like bish. We are trying to correct her, but it's not getting through. She gets frustrated with us and goes up to my mother-in-law, who asks her if she wants a treat
Oh my
of some
god, there's like
sort, and
3
she
males
just
in a row.
says, "Bitch, please."
50% chance.
I could tell hundreds of
Thank you.
stories from my camp counselor days 10 years ago or so, but one that will always stick out was when I had a group of 6, 8-year-olds on an exploration hike decently far into the woods, and one of the boys told me he needed to go to the bathroom. "Okay, Trevor," I asked, "do you know how to go to the bathroom outside?" questioning whether or not he understood to do his business out of view from the rest of the group. "On a tree or something." "Yeah," he assured me. While walking away, I just take my peanuts out and go. Couldn't argue with his answer. I used to work in a preschool, and a little boy heard me say that one of my friends was visiting Baltimore. The kid immediately gasped, and when you aren't supposed to say his name, he thought that Voldemort was named Baltimore, and was horrified that someone I knew was visiting he who must not be named. I didn't correct him. I guess I was 3 or so, and pretending to work on my toy semi, when I started throwing my tools, and said, "Goddamn piece of crap won't start." Not much has changed. I've shared this before, but once when my niece was very little, maybe 3, we passed a bridge under construction and there were 2 big cranes working. She sighed in this resigned way, and said, "I knew one day the dinosaurs would come and get me." I almost had to pull over, I laughed so hard. Around the same time we were having a dinner party and my best friend and I were sitting in the living room. She toddles in, and I hold out my arm. She runs, and jumps into my friend's lap. I exclaim, "But, P, I'm blood." She screams and runs towards me. "Blood? Where?" And proceeds to check me over for flesh wounds. She's awesome. My little brother, 10, was telling a story about his friend Jay and himself to an older lady who is quite stiff about kids these days. Brother, me and Jay were playing. Lady, Jay and I. Brother, no, you weren't there. Laughter erupts. I work as a preschool teacher, so I hear all kinds of hilarious things. Just last week, we were reading The Little Red Hen, and I asked what a hen was, indicating the picture. One of my kids shouts out, "Chicken," and then another raises his arms and yells, "We kill chickens."